Hello everyone, greetings for the day. Welcome back to the tutorial on ISTQB Foundation. This is Neeraj Kumar Singh and you are watching ISTQB Foundation series. So today the topic to discuss is the third topic after the 7 testing principle is we are moving to the test process. So earlier in previous syllabus it was called as fundamental test process, and today in the new version we call it as just the test process, which means the same. And here we generally know it as the software testing lifecycle, which includes all the major activities to be conducted as a part of testing phase in the development model. So let's get into the process, and the very first thing what we are trying to understand is in the new syllabus we have added another thing, that is test process in context, which generally means that what are those factors which influence testing, like on dependency with several factors. Testing can be one or the other way either influenced or maybe impacted, or how exactly it adds value to the entire product development process. So we have got the development process in use, project methodologies being used can influence the entire process, that how much testing or how testing should be done for the product which we are developing. The test levels, the test types being considered. So if we talk about functional and non-functional, this could be another way by which the testing could be influenced by how much testing is done in the functional and what additional non-functional levels are being conducted. The identification of the project and product risk, which could another way we proportionally include the test cases for that to address them and mitigate them. The business domain which you're testing is another thing to be taken into consideration for test process to be more effective. There are certain operational constraints, like how much budget do you have, what resources do you have, what timeline is allocated to you, what kind of complexity is involved in that, contractual and regulatory requirements. So there are several other things as operational constraints which could be included as a part of testing influences. So generally, based on the budget or time scales, if you see that how much time is allocated to you. And we know about one of the principles that exhaustive testing is impossible to be conducted. So we do take care of these factors as well while we talk about testing the entire product. Organizational policies and practices, because it's not mandatory that testing is common or same throughout the industries. For organization to organization, the process is quite specific and different. And of course, the required internal and external standards. Sometimes it may be the product which requires certain standards to be followed. Sometimes it's just the organization which creates certain standards to be taken care when you talk about a product development. So these are several factors which influence the test process, that how the entire test process should be conducted, what activity must take place at what point of time in the life cycle, and many other things like that. So let's get into the process and understand in more detail that what exactly it is. So when you talk about the test process, we have the major activities of a test process as test planning, test monitoring and control, test analysis, test design, test implementation, test execution, and test completion. So let's understand each one of them in more detail. So starting with the first one here is called as test planning. The test planning generally consists of all those major activities to define the entire plan, entire layout, entire procedure of the overall testing to be done for a particular product. Now, where it includes determining the scope and risk involved, or defining the overall approach of testing, that what we are going to do altogether to define the quality or find the defects or define the entire thing at the end of the project, we must achieve this. So generally we define an objective or overall approach of testing, that we are targeting this much coverage, this much limit on the defects to be found and cleared, and many other things like considering the risk, what kind of risk are you considering, what severity are you going to define, and many other things. Scheduling the test activities, assigning resources for the activities. These are other activities which you do as a part of test planning. Like what other activities will happen, when will it start, how it will take place, who will be doing it, what kind of resources like you have within your team. And there are some people who are experienced, there are some people who are new to it, then who takes care of what. So we define the responsibilities as well. Defining the amount, detail, and template for the documentation. So of course, depending on the development lifecycle model, it may depend that what kind of documentation and template you're going to make use of. It may be, when you talk about traditional approaches, we have heavy documentations being done. But if we talk about agile process, then of course the documentation is very lightweight, very simple and easy ones. Selecting the matrices is another one of that. Monitoring and controlling is additional step to be taken with help of matrices. Defining the entry and exit criteria, deciding about the automation, and there are many other activities about test planning. But as you see that ISTQB does not speak in detail about test planning in Chapter 1, because this will be same thing which will be elaborated in Chapter 5. But as of now, I just wanted to add few activities, because as we are talking about test process, you must understand what exactly test planning is. But as per the syllabus, Chapter 1 doesn't have any activity in test planning in Chapter 1. So anyways, this is what we call it as test planning. Let's move to the next one. We call it as test monitoring and control. Generally, this is the process of monitoring the progress on the project. So generally, you define certain activities to be done as a part of overall phases. So how the monitoring can be done. Because monitoring is something which will tell you that what is happening, what is ongoing on the project. So you define certain matrices, which are some type of calculation, some kind of formulae, which will help you to measure an entity. And there are several dimensions which can be measured with the help of matrices. Some of them are like test, defects, coverage, confidence, and even the risk. So here I have a template example on the test matrix, which is to calculate the execution rate, where it can be measured as number of test cases executed divided by number of test cases planned for execution. Test control is another way by which you define a backup plan, or we say that it is an alternative action which could be prepared simultaneously with the planned activities. So generally during the plan, for each defined activity, you create a control action, or you can also have separately defined control actions which would be taking or implemented when you see that there's a deviation in the plan. Because plan is something which is done much earlier in advance, so it's not mandatory that things would go according to it when it comes to it. So we must be just prepared with an alternative action or some kind of corrective or guiding action which could be taken when it comes to execution of that. So that's one of the things which is really important to be taken care at this point of time. So monitoring and control deal with these major activities. Test analysis is another thing where you start analyzing the test basis. Now, test basis is a term which is used for any such documentation which is used as a reference for testing. So generally testing those requirements we gather and start analyzing them. As a part of analyzing these test bases, we identify the certain defects in the documentation as well. Because this is another way of saying that it is a walkthrough, a type of review by which you can find some inconsistencies, ambiguities on emissions on the documentation to look forward that if there are any certain things which are missing and important. Identifying features and set of features to be tested. What is testable, what is non-testable. As you go through the documentation, you understand that. Also, you define the test conditions, which generally means that test scenarios as you analyze the requirements or test basis. Considering functional, non-functional, and structural characteristics would be further filtered and separately documented. So, because the entire requirement will be clubbed together, so we try to filter that, what are functional, what are non-functional, what levels would be required to accomplish that or achieve those targets. So that's where what we talk from the test analysis point of view. Let's look at the test design. Generally, test design is a phase where you try designing the test cases and even prioritizing to a certain extent the high-level test cases. Because the test cases are something which starts preparing in this particular phase. You are done with analysis, you know what exactly test analysis is, you know the requirement. Now you get into the details of that by preparing test cases to support or validate this feature. Identifying the necessary test data to support the test condition, because of course for each condition you will be writing test cases, and test cases would read some kind of test data to support it. Designing the test environment and identifying the required infrastructure and tool. So environment preparation starts from test design, and parallelly you also create the template bidirectional traceability matrices between the different test bases and the test cases. Now that is just to make sure that the requirements have been converted into test cases, or the test cases are covering all the requirements. As it can be evaluated from either side, we generally call it as a bidirectional traceability matrix. So we just have to take care of these activities from the point of understanding on the lifecycle activities. As a part of test implementation, generally we say that this is one of the major activity where you get prepared for execution. So before execution, what major activities do you do? Of course, developing and prioritizing the test procedures. Test procedures are set of actions to be taken before executing the test, and we just prepare that. Creating test suites out of the test procedures. So generally we collectively put all the test cases together and call them as one test suite, which is going to be executed at a time. Also, the test scripts, if you decided to automate, the test script will be prepared in the test implementation phase. Arranging the test suites within the execution schedule, because execution schedule becomes another important part of it to decide how the automation or how the execution would take place depending on certain dependencies like technical dependency, logical dependency, and the flow of the hierarchy of the requirement. Building the environment, finally you verify that if the environment is ready or not, because in design phase you started working on it, but implementation you acknowledge that the environment is ready and we are good to go with execution. Even if there's anything which is remaining from the point of test data, you confirm that or complete that. Also you verify and update the bidirectional matrices to make sure that the test cases are all covering the requirement. So that's from the test implementation. Execution is a very simple thing, and again, like every one of us know about test execution, which mainly testing is all about. You start executing all your test cases one after the other. Each test case would be executed in terms of fulfilling the prerequisites with the help of the test data and following the test steps to be executed. As you execute the test cases, you also log the result, like actual and expected, which is already mentioned. And when you compare the expected and actual, you define the overall status of the test. If expected is equal to actual, then you say it as pass. In case this is a deviation, then you report it as a discrepancy or defect. While in execution phase itself, you also track the defects which you have reported and get them fixed. Once the defect is fixed, you conduct retesting or confirmation testing to make sure whether the defect is fixed or not. As a change to fix the defect, the code has been modified. We also conduct regression testing, which we'll talk in more details in Chapter 2. So let's move to the next one here, which is being the last stage of the test process. We call it as test completion. In traditional approaches, we call it as test closure activities. And Agile, we call it as retrospective, which is really very important. But before that, in between execution and completion, once all your execution have taken place, for example, during test execution phase, you take care of executing the functional, non-functional, all the necessary upgrades of the data, or any additional test cases are required to be added dependent on the monitoring process, you add those test cases and execute them. Once all your execution has been completed, you evaluate the exit criteria, which is another major challenging job to see if all the test cases have been executed and exit criteria has been met. The exit criteria would mainly confirm you that what you wanted to achieve as defined objective of testing has been achieved or not. Once exit criteria is met, you call off testing phase and move to the test completion stage. Generally, test completion is a post-release event where the test product has been delivered to the client would have accepted it, and you do several other activities as a part of it. So we say that generally we log the reports or create the reports which are required to be documented post-release. For example, documenting the defects which are closed, documenting the change request for anything which remain open, documenting the deferred defects which would be fixed somewhere later in the versions or any updates. Those things will be taken care as a part of logging. Writing the test summary report, which is the overall test summary report, which generally contains the overview of all major activities conducted as a part of testing. Finalizing and archiving the test environment, test data, the test infrastructure, and testware for future reuse, which would be helpful when you come up with another release of the same product. Maybe this archiving of the data would also help the maintenance team, because maintenance team is someone which takes care of the product after release, and they generally deal with lots of updates, upgrades on the existing release. So these tests where these infrastructure would help them to understand what testing has been done so far and what regression we should do. Analyzing lessons learned from the completed activities, of course, from the understanding of all the activities being done, gathering the lessons from each contributor or each tester, it can generally help you improvise your process and optimize the test process maturity. Of course, the entire information which is gathered may improve you to proceed towards minimizing your defects, adding value to your process, and making more quantified or qualified process within the activities. So that's generally from the test process in the ISTQB. These are the major activities which will be conducted as part of each of the main stages. So generally we expect a question directly from these activities, and you must be accordingly prepared for it. So in case you have any further query about these activities, feel free to reach me at any point of time by commenting below. I'll be there to answer your queries on the comment box. So in case you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. We are looking forward to have a lot of videos because we are just getting started with chapter 1, and we'll be having a lot more to discuss about the same. So till then, keep learning, keep exploring. Thanks for watching the video, team. Happy learning.